The NHL offseason has been crazy, to say the least. From Johnny Gaudreau joining the Columbus Blue Jackets to the massive Calgary and Florida trade involving two superstars, the landscape of the NHL has definitely seen some change. There are a lot of new faces in different organizations to start the season next year. Today, I'll be discussing a list of quality players who have yet to sign and are still available in free agency. Starting off the list of quality players still left in free agency is Nazin Kadri. Everybody in the hockey world knows the type of season he had. He made his first All-Star Game appearance, and he exceeded that achievement by hoisting the Stanley Cup. Kadri had a career year with 28 tucks and 59 helpers for 87 points in 71 games. At the beginning of the season, the Avalanche were missing Nathan MacKinnon for an extended period of time due to injury. Nazin Kadri elevated his game while MacKinnon was sidelined. Kadri stepped up big time and produced a ton of offense for the Avs. This should be an indication to any GM who is tentative on signing Kadri that he is legit and that the 31-year-old can flourish given the right circumstance and opportunity. GMs in need of a top 6 center should aggressively pursue Kadri to an extent. If I was a GM, I would propose Kadri with a 6-year deal worth $7.1 million AAV. Since it's taken longer than expected for him to sign, I sense that teams are reluctant to offer what he desires. Kadri's regular season and playoff performance definitely deserves a payday. The best landing spots for the forward are the Red Wings, Islanders, and Sabres. I would love to see him join the Sabres and be their second-line center. My understanding is that he wants to sign with a playoff contender, but the Sabres are not far off from being a playoff team. If the Sabres sign Kadri, I actually think they could possibly clinch a 2023 playoff spot. It would be extremely difficult for the Sabres to clinch a spot in a loaded Eastern Conference. However, the Sabres are a team that is young and on the rise. Forward Sonny Milano has definitely taken some time to find his footing in the NHL. The 26-year-old skilled forward would be a solid fit for any team looking to add depth scoring. For the past 8 years, his career has been a seesaw between the NHL and AHL. This past season with the Ducks, he made a case for why he's ready to become a full-time NHLer. He racked up 34 points in 66 games while averaging 15 minutes of ice time. The young forward has so much unfulfilled potential yet to be utilized. Any team who takes a chance on the UFA will reap the rewards. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs a 1-year prove-it deal, where he thrives and receives several years on his next deal. Milano is in need of a team to increase his role, and he'll prosper. Perfect example is Kadri in Colorado. I can see that happening to Milano. So far, Milano's production has been quite impressive, considering the little amount of opportunity he's been given in the NHL. For being in and out of the lineup during his career, his stat line is 81 points in 197 games played. The next player I'm going to talk about is a low-risk, high-reward type player who has actually played with Milano on the Ducks. But before we get to that, possible landing spots for Milano are the Coyotes, Rangers, and Jets. Like Milano, forward Danton Heinen is a low-risk, high-reward potential signing for any team. Former Ducks teammates from a couple years ago, Milano and Heinen are in very similar situations. Both players had about the same amount of points and did not receive their qualifying offers from their respective teams. During the 2020-2021 season, Heinen played for the Ducks. He had a difficult time producing with only 14 points in 43 games. After that down year, during that offseason, the Penguins signed Heinen, where he bounced back, putting up 18 goals and 15 helpers for 33 points in 76 games. Heinen's game has been on a downwards trend since his second NHL season, when he tallied 47 points in 77 games with Boston. Although his production has slipped, Heinen can still add depth scoring to a team interested in taking a gamble. Potential fits are the Jets, Coyotes, and Flames. Next player on this list is forward Evan Rodriguez. A former teammate of Heinen's in Pittsburgh is also a UFA. Rodriguez just had a career year while bringing the energy to an injury-prone lineup. At the beginning of the season, the Pens had Crosby and Malkin sidelined due to injury. Due to the Penguins' two superstars being absent, Rodriguez took advantage of the opportunity and ran with it. He compiled a stat line of 19 goals, 24 assists for 43 points in a complete season. Some teams that could possibly be fits are the Blackhawks, Sharks, and the Stars. The first and only defenseman on this list is Jonathan Klingberg. The offensive defenseman will likely return to the Stars next year. The Stars and Klingberg have mutual interest of reuniting, but the Stars don't want to give what Klingberg is requesting. I think he'll get a deal worth $8.2 million AAV for 7 years. Moving on to a couple of veterans also worth noting are Derek Brassard, Sam Gagne, Phil Kessel, and Paul Stasny. I see this group of 4 veteran players who can still compete and potentially sign in 1 to 2 year deals with teams. In my opinion, Derek Brassard has been depreciated throughout his career, but he manages to somehow produce points. This past season, he racked up 19 points in 46 games played. Career-wise, he's at 522 points in 951 games. The veteran started the 2021-2022 season with Philly before being dealt to Edmonton to experience little time in the lineup. He can still play, and he brings veteran presence in the locker room. Next up is Sam Gagne. Sam Gagne and Derek Brassard have very similar career numbers. Gagne just finished the season with the Red Wings with 31 points in 81 games. Very solid numbers. That production is bottom 6 numbers, but he brings veteran status and is impactful, especially for a young team. Moving on to Phil Kessel. Phil the Thrill definitely remains to be a production machine with an acceptable 52 points in 82 games. However, he had a devastating year in the goals department with only 8 tucks, while the whole Coyotes roster struggled to score all season long. Despite that, he wouldn't be a bad signing at all for any team looking to add a skilled veteran forward to the third line. Kessel has 2 cups under his belt and currently attempting to break the longest Ironman streak ever in the NHL. Kessel needs to play just 8 more games to set a new consecutive games played. Possible fits are the Dallas Stars. He could possibly return to the Arizona Coyotes. And lastly, he could join the Blackhawks because their right wing group is in need of more experience. Last player I'm going to discuss in this video is Paul Stasny. At age 36, Stasny's motor continues to rev. The hard-nosed veteran forward can still produce at a decent rate. This past year in Winnipeg, he managed to put up 45 points in 71 games. Those numbers should be enticing for any GM looking to add veteran leadership to the locker room, scoring depth, and a reliable bottom 6 player desperate for a Stanley Cup ring. Stasny is likely to join a Stanley Cup contender to chase down his dream of raising the cup. Teams that could have interest in the veteran forward are the Predators, Wild, and a possible return to the Jets. Thanks for watching. For more content like this, click the like and subscribe button. Check out other media accounts. Stay tuned.